Welcome back to Comics with Drew. I'm Drew, and it's another edition of Manga Monday, where I review a new manga every Monday. Today I'm looking at Nine Dragons Ball Parade, Chapter 1, The Start of a Dream. No, this isn't a manga about a bunch of dragons bragging about their, talents with the ladies. This is about baseball, baby. You know, America's national pastime. Baseball is apparently big in Japan. Now, I knew it was popular, but in doing some background research on this manga, I came across some eye-opening details. It's so big in Japan that Japanese high school baseball, which Nine Dragons Ball Parade is about, is as popular in Japan as college football is in America. Now, if you follow college football like I do, go Gators, that's a really impressive comparison. And it would explain why we now have a manga about it. Nine Dragons Ball Parade is a brand new manga series written by Kamada Mikiyasu and drawn by Fukui Ashibi. Now, I'm reversing these because I've been told that the surname is actually first and the given name is last. So if somebody wants to chime in on the comments and let me know whether this translation here is actually correct, where Kamada is the first name and Mikiyasu is the last name, or if it's Mikiyasu Kamada. Anyone want to chime in on that? Feel free to do so. It's translated for English by Camellia Nye and lettered by Sneer Aharon. Wow, I thought it was going to be difficult to pronounce the Japanese names. Here we have on our cover our primary characters. On the right here we have Tao Ryudo. He's a pitcher, physically gifted, he is flaky, and his defining characteristic is full tilt chill. That's how I would put it. He just doesn't really seem to be all that concerned with anything. These other characters back here, they look like they might be important, but they are not anywhere to be found in chapter 1. On the left here we have Tamao Azakita. He's a catcher, he's physically slight. As you can see, he relies on research and strategy, otherwise why else would he be carrying around a spreadsheet instead of, you know, a catcher's mitt? His primary goal in life is to play baseball for Hakuo High School. Again, high school baseball is a huge deal in Japan, as evidenced by this first page. Complete domination. West Tokyo High School Baseball Tournament. It's their third year running of making it to Japan's national championship. Now look at these guys here, right? They're holding a flag. It says High School Baseball Tournament Grand Champions. And these guys aren't going to kneel for anything, man. These are humble athletes. Obviously, it's a huge honor for them. It's a big deal. And they're just there to be the best baseball players they can possibly be. As you can see, it's elevated almost to the point of being militaristic. These guys are soldiers here. And later on in this book, you'll actually see a manager make that comparison. As you can see, Tamao here, he's a big fan. Hakuo Empire, we're as strong as ever. So cool. Next page, we see this internal monologue of Tamao. He talks about his motto being safety first and how he's small and his resolve is small. When he was a kid, he'd let other kids go ahead of him on things like slides. Then one day he realizes that it's cool to be strong, so he makes a decision that he's not going to give up on his dream for anybody. You might have a little tip here on what his dream might be. Something I want to point out here is that, you know, in researching Japanese names, Tamao appears to be a feminine name, and they draw this character who is a male, and we know he's a male because later on in the story he's referred to with male pronouns. But I don't know about any of you all here, but this character looks really feminine, and it's a feminine name according to Wikipedia. Wikipedia, your mileage may vary on its accuracy, but that's what I found. Anyway, so we launch into what amounts to a glorified training montage here, where you see how dedicated Tamao is to training, to marking down statistics like, you know, caloric intake and measuring blood pressure, the temperature, stuff like that. So we cut to, hello, my name is Tamao Azakita. My dream is to play for the Hakuo baseball team. How could we have guessed this, right? So we get a quick little recap for how you can be chosen to play on this team. There are 3 ways to make the team. You can be scouted as an amazing player. Another way is you can play for another team and be recommended. For story purposes, Tamao doesn't qualify for the first 2 options, so it's down to number 3. Yep, the third way is through tryouts. Basically, it's like auditioning for the team. For 2 years, I've endured a brutal training regime. This dude is like Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne travels the world to learn how to be the best crime fighter. Tamao throws himself totally into the best training regime that he can possibly think of to prepare for these tryouts. And when I say prepare, I mean, we're talking about hardcore. I mean, we have the conspiracy theory stuff up here. We have boards, we have X'd out rivals for pitchers and for infield. He has thoroughly researched the competition. And then we get this super focused look. Yeah, when you have the frosted out glasses, you know it's personal. It's go time. And everything is going according to plan. I just want to point out that whenever you have the frosted glasses like this, you know the character is serious. Because it's like we are in Terminator mode. We're going to get this thing done. And just in case all of that is not enough, we have the following breakdown. Breakfast, we have coffee. Caffeine is a performance-enhancing stimulant. It tastes bitter without milk. We have bananas, provides easy-to-digest vitamins and minerals. And then we have rice topped with egg, a good balance of carbs, protein, and essential amino acids, as well as a second bowl, extra carbs for the big day. The weather is clear. The temperature is 21.1 degrees Celsius. The chance of rain is 17.5%, average of 4 forecasts. What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is a supervillain mastermind, except that he's our hero. Cut to the tryouts. We have some guy with his arm raised up in the back. He's yawning, and then Tamao is like, what? And then the coach here is like, first is Tao Ryudo. Was that a yes or a yawn? Well, sorry, that was both. Here we go. Here's our pitcher character. Apparently he's an Adidas fan, so there's that. Tamao is like, what's his deal? So yawning is one way to get on Tamao's bad side. He can't understand why this guy apparently doesn't look like he cares, because this is the battle of a lifetime. Doesn't he realize he's at the tryouts for Hakuo? Apparently not. That's the face of someone who doesn't really know what tryouts he's at. I'll tell you what. The way they determine who's going to be selected to be on the team, they have a 5-inning game where they separate the players into 2 different teams. We'll break into 2 teams and play a short 5-inning game. 5-inning game. It's kind of like Gilligan's Island, right? They go on a 3-hour tour. Ominously, a 3-hour tour. 5-inning game. 5-inning game. I like that. All right, so the team that wins and your contribution to that win will greatly influence your chances. Now, I just want to draw your attention here. Which group of characters do you think are going to be around for very long? Probably the one that looks like a Voltron pilot and the one that looks like he belongs in Dragon Ball Z. These other stern people, yeah, they're probably not long for the book, but I guess you're going to have to read the manga to find out. To raise the stakes even higher, again, Tamao is a catcher, and they only select one catcher every year for tryouts, and they have this other guy who apparently played in the United States for several years. As you can see, he's like an 800-pound gorilla, and this is the guy that Tamao is up against. It's going to be a Herculean task here for our boy to get selected for this team. And on top of all of that, max chill factor here is the pitcher, and Tamao is not impressed with that. He goes, Ryudo, you're going to pitch? Yep, they said it's my turn. Does that look like the face of someone you want pitching for you? Maybe. I'd probably look for somebody else. He was like, look at this face, man. I'm the pitcher you need right now. Obviously, Tamao is very impressed with this. And he starts thinking, this is bad. We're already losing. And now I have to lead a pitcher whose abilities and record I know nothing about. And again, he goes, you're a pitcher? And he goes, didn't I mention that? Now, a little bit of inside baseball. Yeah, pun intended. It's the responsibility of the catcher in baseball to work the batter. So, people will talk about how the pitcher's always great. The pitchers are going to send their fastball or the curveball or whatever. Well, the catcher's the one that is minding the count and telling the pitcher what pitch he should be pitching. And so that way they can be on the same page, and that way the catcher knows what pitch is coming, so he knows how to position himself. So it's very important that you have a good relationship with your pitcher. Tamao here didn't even know that Ryudo is a pitcher, and here we are. So max chill factor up here is let's do this, and then Tamao's like, hey, how can you be so? And we have the wind up. So what do you all think? Is this guy great? Is he bad? Is he terrible? Well, if you guess he's an amazing pitcher, bingo, you've got it. Managers say we may have a real ace on our hands. Hey, thanks guys. And Tamao's like, for real? With his stinging fingers here. He goes, who is this guy? Well, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when you got like the sun shining bright and you got sparkles and you got a guy floating through the air here, it's pretty evident what we have here is baseball Jesus. Ultimately, the game ends and we come down to our selection here, and we have Tamao here and we have the guy that played in the United States. And if you want to know what happens, you're gonna have to read the manga to find out. As far as art goes, this is a really dynamically drawn book. The art is really fantastic. One of the things that I like about it here is, I'm a gigantic fan of the speed lines in manga. It just makes the art look so active. It's kind of funny because when you watch anime is really cheaply animated, and a lot of times you'll see things that they're not animated, they're just kind of being moved across plates or backgrounds, so it makes it look like they're moving. But if you look close, they're not moving at all, they're just still drawings. However, in manga, they take still drawings and make them look way more animated. That's one of the things I really like about this art style. A lot of people talk about how some hitter tattooed a baseball. This looks like the perfect visual representation of a baseball being tattooed here. I mean, they've got like wrapped around the bat. It's really cool. It's really dynamic. And then back on this page, we see how serious the character is. Nothing is out of place. We have his books that they're all lined up. He's got bookends on them. He's got his hats lined up here. He's got his books neatly arranged here. There's nothing on the floor. Our character is devoted to a single purpose, and that purpose is making the baseball team for this high school. Another art thing that I really like is how they have Akuo kind of glowing here. So we have the dark color, but then the lettering is glowing, and you can see the reverence the character has for the school. It's really cool there. One final note on the art, you have Tamao here. He's in shadow shadow here while the focus is on his rival. Even though he's in the foreground, you can tell the focus of the drawing is back here, and then the onomatopoeia for Bam. I mean, this is really great art. It's a really ingenious way of conveying the hopelessness of Tamao here with the obstacle that he's trying to overcome. The obstacle is not just standing in front of him, the obstacle is barging through him, and he's going to have to find a way to achieve that. So the art is very well thought out, and there's a lot of care into how they block this stuff out. So ultimately, I would give the art a 10 on Nine Dragons Ball Parade. To summarize, Nine Dragons Ball Parade, it's a manga about baseball. It's a manga about high school baseball, which apparently is really, really big in Japan, and I don't mean like big in the rock band sense. I mean, it's really popular in Japan. Apparently, new baseball fans in Japan are surprised to learn that baseball is considered the national sport of the United States. It's so popular in Japan that people feel like it's the centerpiece of the baseball universe. So that was a funny thing I learned. But you know, that's one of the reasons I'm reviewing manga, because I can learn more about other cultures. So again, Nine Dragons Ball Parade. Plot is pretty cool, actually. It's pretty inventive, I think, for what it is, for a sports story especially. Sports stories generally fall into pretty established ideas. It's very, very rare where your team doesn't win in the end, and it's very interesting when you see a writer try to grapple with dealing with the expectations of a sports story and how they can change those or turn them on their ear or whatnot, and I think they do a really good job with what happens here. The chapter is the start of a dream. It's really an origin story of how Tamao and Ryoto meet and what happens and transpires from that meeting. It's on vismedia.com. It's the weekly Shonen Jump subscription, $1.99 for a month. You've heard the spiel before. This is a great manga. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'm really interested in seeing what happens with the next chapter on this. The next chapter comes on February 21st. Same baseball bat time, same baseball bat place. Again, Nine Dragons Ball Parade. I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. If you enjoyed this review, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. And if there's another manga that you would like for me to review the first chapter of for a Manga Monday in the future, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.